You know, if only they could take a modern Netflix original series, you know, interpretation of articulation and design, and blend it with the vintage retro play feeling of the classic series. Man, that would be something. That would be something. Oh, wait. They did. Hey, friends and revolutionaries! Here to take a look at the last in the Netflix original series, Master of the Universe Revelations figures. Taking a look at the last one in the series for Series 1, and we're going to go out in grand style. Or maybe I should say, deluxe style. Deluxe style, no kidding. This is a large box. A very large box, very large figure inside. We're talking, obviously, of course, about Battle Cat. A figure that actually I was not 100% sure I was going to get. I hadn't seen it anywhere in town. It wasn't on sale with the other figures when I got them. I wasn't sure who had them. I didn't know how quickly they were selling. I had no way of knowing anything about Battle. Only that Battle Cat was out there somewhere. Turns out, just to share a quick story, that I checked one of the Target stores in the city that's like 2 hours away to see if they had it. And the website said they did, but when I called, the person I spoke to said that their website updates at midnight, and they wouldn't send someone to check the shelf and put one on hold and put it on hold for me. They simply said I would have to come in and see if they had it and be able to pick it up. And I explained to them I'm 2 hours away, but they wouldn't do it. So I jumped in my car and I made a road trip of 2 hours down and 2 hours back, but it was worth it. It was worth it. This is a fine. Well, you know what? Let me not do that. I might be setting myself for some disappointment. We'll wait and see. Looks good. We'll have to see what we get. But yeah, so it's a typical Masterverse packaging with the blue box, but this is one that I'm actually okay with. No bubble, no dimple, just a nice big window. Get to see all of Battle Cat. I'm okay with this. This is a package I'm not going to rant and go on about. I think this is okay. Does have the classic Battle Cat fighting tiger description. It's got the portrait on the side. I don't know who does the artwork on this. I haven't looked. But, you know, I've got to say, I am not all that impressed with it. It's certainly not a bad picture of Battle Cat. It's not a bad portrait of him at all. Just, not as good. Just not quite as impressive as I would like. You know, on the back here, the Castle Grayskull actually is more impressive to me than the He-Man and Battle Cat that we have charging in. So it's such a shame. It's a lot of spectacle, but just blah. You know, it really bothers me, the fact that, you know, for all this, you know, real fancy kind of design, that it's the classic artwork, the classic style that I really do like. I really think this is a better version of Battle Cat artwork than this. Just personal. That's personal. Just personal thing. Personal. We'll get back into this packaging here in just a sec. On the back, we do have all 5 of the characters, as opposed to on the individuals, which continually left out Skelegod he is now there in the lineup. So Skelegod, He-Man, Mossman, Skeletor, and EVIL-LYN, the figures have been done. So we are wrapping up the last of the Masterverse or Revelations series. On the write-up, it says, Battle Cat, Fighting Tiger. The cowardly green and yellow talking tiger Cringer wishes nothing more than to peacefully relax by Prince Adam's side, but when Adam raises his power sword and summons the power of Grayskull, Cringer sheds his whimpering nature and transforms into the mighty Battle Cat, ferocious fighting steed and loyal best friend of the mighty He-Man. No, he doesn't. He does not. Cringer does not. I've seen more than enough episodes where, and this is the original series, which is another place where Revelations just drops the ball completely, that when Adam raises his sword, Cringer is cowering in a corner. He doesn't want to become Battle Cat. As a matter of fact, I think for just to play off as a joke, they've actually had some episodes where he dives under a table or hides behind a tree. So don't tell me that Cringer is eager to become Battle Cat. That doesn't happen. And it opens up a lot of questions as to what happens to the Cringer persona when he's Battle Cat, and does Battle Cat really want to go back to being Cringer? I mean, it's kind of a messy little situation, but that's something to have a nerd fight over, you know, some other time. I love the feature that they put here on the back. Remove mask for Cringer. I really hope that's not how he looks. I hope we get a better Cringer than this. And I think it's hilarious that they say that they make a point of saying that if you remove his mask, you get Cringer. Because for old Master Universe fans, toy collectors, when you were a kid at that time, that's what we were doing anyway. That's how we had Cringer. We took the mask off. We had that chunky piece of hollow plastic, and that was Cringer. It didn't look like Cringer. It was too big to be Cringer, but that's all we did. We just took off the mask. So it seems as though that it's taken them, what, 35 years? But they finally decided to make that a feature, that if you take off the mask, you can have Cringer. That, I think, is funny. I think that is just hilarious. Particularly because this is the packaging for the retro play Battle Cat, you know, and I had this packaging. I hadn't thrown it out by the time I purchased this, which I'm so glad, because after I read that, I took a look and I realized that actually, you know what, if you remove the mask for Battle Cat, all you get is one PO'd looking cat, one really angry looking tiger. You don't get Cringer. That is not Cringer. Clearly, you know, it's something where they've done some sculpting under the mask, or at least I would hope they did, because no, that's not how you get a Cringer. You don't just take off the mask. But again, there's a fantastic piece of vintage artwork that I love, and somehow the Revelations just sort of drops the ball on it. It again, it's not bad. I guess it fits the style of the show, I guess. Very flashy, but ultimately not that great. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say about the packaging. Let's go ahead, pop Battle Cat out of the pack, take a look, and have some fun. Be right back. Alright, so we've got Battle Cat out of the pack, and right out of the gate, we're going to give him an extra 10 points for being able to get into the classic Battle Cat pose. Right paws front, left paws back, with the ability to turn the tail. Doesn't quite match up to the back of the leg like that single piece Battle Cat was in the vintage series and the classic series. And the retro series, I don't know what you want to call the original series, the OG. but yeah, you can get him into that classic Battle Cat pose from the original series. So 10 points there. Really, really nice, actually. I have to say, I'm not completely sold on the new design on the mask. when we get the others out, you'll really see it's hard. Battle-Cat was a character or a figure that in pack it was hard for me to really tell where the design differences really came in. I mean, I knew that they didn't have quite the number of spikes on his saddle, but I didn't realize he doesn't quite have that snarl on his mask. That is kind of a shame. They kind of recreate it with these plates, but it's not that Battle-Cat snarl that we saw from the vintage or the classics version. Kind of disappointing, but it's a minor thing. I think Battle-Cat is a character that can easily be overlooked as far as some of the differences in the design. I do like how on his paws they actually gave him some nice claws. Sculpted those claws in really nice there. The lines for the tiger, I'm not sure if you can really see them, but they're not quite as clean as I think they should be. Now again, this is the last Battle-Cat that was on the shelf, so mine may just have defects that other collectors decide to pass on because it was the last one there. But there are some spots where you can really tell that, yeah, they just went and painted the line on, and it doesn't quite, blend into the fur as well as it should. Speaking of which, the texture on the fur, very nice texture. As I said, the details are in the sculpt, and there is quite a bit of detailing on Battle-Cat. I really do like the fact that they painted in the eyes on the mask. Even the Master Universe Classic version didn't have the eyes painted in. So I think that is a really nice touch. I think that looks really good. And there's several other parts of this Battle-Cat that I do give it higher points than the Classics version. This is probably the only figure in the set that I will give higher points on than the Master Universe Classics version is the Battle-Cat. His armor, his saddle, is made out of a much softer plastic. It's much softer, so I think it grabs on and it hangs on a lot better than the stiff armor that's on the Classics version. The Classics has a much harder plastic, and it doesn't it just kind of rests on there. It falls off, and it puts weight on the neck. One of the things that I said about the Master Universe Classics version, which has not improved with time, is that the neck hinge has some trouble supporting the helmet. Not so on this Cringer. On this Battle-Cat, because that is such a soft plastic. I mean, it's like a Superman cape. It's just very, very, very bendable. I also want to say that the articulation on this Battle-Cat is much better than the Master Universe Classics version. It's something where, we'll take a look at them separately. But here, I mean, the legs do come out. There's actually a hinge here. So as well as having the front and back, you actually have the in and out. The legs, I have to say the elbow and knee joints on the Revelations figures are just incredibly tight. I would say be very careful and work these joints, very slowly, because I'm sure it's a very thick peg, but it is pretty stiff. You may want to heat this up. There is the hinge on the paw. There's the twist and a pivot, which for Battle-Cat, a pivot on the paw is just a tremendous benefit. I think the pivot on Battle-Cat is more important than it is for just about any of the other figures in the series. I don't want to quite give it away yet. The tail is on a pin and hinge joint, so it'll come up and out, twist. There is a twist at the well, there's actually two. There's here at his upper torso, his abdomen, and then on his pelvic area. There's a twist at both. Not quite sure. I think that was probably having to do with how he was being put together. It was easier probably to do him in 3 sections than just 2. But yeah, he's got quite a bit of articulation just in his torso. I noticed that, like He-Man, his armor seems to want to pop off. But goes right back on just fine. As you saw, there is the hinge here at the neck and a twist at the head. Actually, the head is on a, I don't know if it's a ball joint. Even if it's just a peg and hinge joint, it is actually very nicely articulated all across the board. He has the jaw that opens or closes, which is actually kind of the key to the whole Cringer gimmick, if you will. I have to say I appreciate the idea behind it, but it could have been executed so much better. There's so much better execution that could have been done on this idea, because I think it's one that, you know, kids who have been playing He-Man and had a Battle Cat, again, they've been taking the mask off that Battle Cat to turn him into Cringer since the beginning. Let me go ahead and bring in the vintage Battle Cat, or I guess I should say the retro style, the one that should be most closely resembling the original figure. Set him aside here for a minute. And in this case, it is very reminiscent of the Master Universe Classics version, just smaller, you know, much more vibrant green, much more, I guess, kind of a Christmassy kind of green. Also has the jaw that opens and closes, a harder kind of plastic. But yeah, I'm not going to do a review of this one. But just to give you a look, you know, the idea being that if you take off the mask, you're going to get a Cringer. And that's pretty much what we did as kids, and that's pretty much the face that we got from the original Battle Cat as well. Not much of a Cringer, but we made do. We certainly made do. Set this one aside for a second, and we'll bring in the Master Universe Classics Battle Cat, which you'll see darker color. Certainly the colorization is my favorite. I really like the overall look of this one. You know, he's actually got the stirrups there for He-Man to ride. Like the original, he's got the 2 horns in the front and the 3 spikes on his saddle. Of course, the whole saddle is more reminiscent of the original, but again, it's an update, it's an evolution. I'm okay with it. Much harder plastic, which again makes it a bit of a stress on the head. But again, if you take off that head, you get one pretty PO tiger. You get a pretty upset looking tiger. You do not get a Cringer. But what did we do? We made do. We made do with it. Here, for the Netflix version, on top of being kind of a lighter color, more of, I guess, a Cringer kind of color, with the lighter muzzle, if you take off the mask, ready, here we go. I will admit, it is not quite of the angry tiger look, but I don't really call that a Cringer. You know, considering the entire face is covered and the eyes are painted onto the mask, they could have done a much better Cringer. The ears back, the wide eyes, it just doesn't sell it. It doesn't, I'm sorry. If you close his mouth, it helps. It gives him more of a Cringer look with his mouth closed, and actually when I turn him so that only one tooth shows, it even makes it more, it actually helps. But here, no, nope, it is sculpted so that both his two teeth, his two fangs, are sticking out, and that's just not a cringer. That is not a cringer. I'm sorry. Nice try. I mean, a very nice try, and I appreciate the idea. Just need to be executed in a slightly better way. If we go ahead and put the helmet back on him, though, quite an impressive battle cat. Not a great cringer, but none of them are. None of these are. Let's go ahead and remask them. And here, let me go ahead and show it while I'm doing the masks. I mentioned before, on the original and the vintage, as dusty as he is, you can see on there he's got that snarling kind of nose, kind of that kind of growl, much more aggressive looking on the face. Here, you can kind of see where they were going with the idea with the ridges on the nose, the plates on the nose, but not really the same thing. Doesn't really get the same, which is a bit of a shame. That would have been something I think should have carried over. They should have kind of carried over that snarl. And again, there's a good example of that neck joint just not holding that mask all that well. But bringing in all three of them, you can see scale-wise, yeah, Revelations is by far the biggest. Color-wise, I think the Master Universe Classics is the truer. Let me say the one that I appreciate more. I think this one is the better looking one. The vintage one, I appreciate the effort to it. I like the idea they update it with the yellow eyes, but yeah, still the only one weaker is probably the actual original. That's probably the weakest of the three if I had him. If we go ahead and set these two aside, though, we can actually bring in the He-Man. And let's get him ready to saddle up. Okay. Another reason why I don't really think this look on He-Man, this facial expression on He-Man, was probably the best one to go with. that rather goofy smile. That, oh, well, let me move the camera up here. There we go. Yeah, that kind of goofy smile. Riding on Battle Cat. Not great. Not great. And I don't think the saddle is really, I don't think he was sculpted well for this saddle. If there's one thing I will say about the other Battle Cat He-Man combos, it does seem pretty clear, because I mean you can see how he's sitting on there. I mean, he's sort of resting on that saddle. It doesn't really look like it was made for him to ride. You know, for the retro version, I mean, he fits right in there. And you can tell, yeah, that was an accessory for He-Man. And he actually rests his back against the saddle. And he fits in there pretty snug. Here, I don't know. I don't know what exactly I'm doing wrong. But it really doesn't seem like this figure was made to ride on this saddle. That's really disappointing. That just does not look right. That does not look like that belongs there. Same thing with the Classics version, the Mastervers Classics figure. We'll bring that one in. And just before anyone says anything, this is the He-Man from the He-Man Superman 2-pack with the accessories that came in with the blue accessories that came in the accessory pack. It's the one I typically have posed on BattleCat. But he can ride BattleCat. He sits in the saddle. It just seems as though it is made for that figure. He's made to ride that BattleCat more. It's more in the style of, made more for it, I guess I'm trying to say. But there are the 3 BattleCats. I guess everyone's going to have their own personal choice. You know, some people may really like the return of the old school 1980s He-Man with his BattleCat. Clearly the one that looks like they fit together the best. My choice, my personal choice, is of course the Master Universe Classics version. As flawed as it is, as fiddly and fussy as it can be, it is still my favorite. I would have liked to have seen that eye painting been adopted back then. But it has just as much detail and actually looks really nice. This is certainly my choice. But I can't deny that the Netflix original BattleCat, or the Netflix original Revelations BattleCat is a good figure. I think the failing on it is more to do with the He-Man figure. I just don't think the He-Man figure is really that well executed. And I don't think they look that good together. Now, that being said, even though this one has the Cringer feature, the Master Universe Classics still gets the win, because if you were collecting Master Universe Classics and you got the SDC Queen Marlena figure, you would get the best Cringer, an actual Cringer, an actual Cringer figure. So you got an actual Cringer to go with the SDCC Prince Adam, who came with Orko. Oop. Come on, Orko. Here we go. Come on. You'd think that dress would help her stand up. There she goes. So the fact that if you're collecting the Master Universe Classics figures, you know, you would get an actual Cringer and Prince Adam combo with these SDCC exclusives, and let's face it, that is the definitive Cringer. Scale-wise, style-wise, sculpt-wise, that is Cringer. And, you know, taking a look, as I said, with those big eyes, the ears back, the single tooth, I mean, that captures the Filmation Cringer beautifully. And I just, I don't think that that would have been all that difficult. Whoop. I don't think it would have been all that difficult to sculpt into this face. It's just a far cry, one from the other. But it could have been done. Couldn't have done much about the size of them, though. But still, I think we could have gotten a Bender Cringer feature. So, with Battle Cat now being done, we're done. We're done with the Netflix Master of the Universe Revelations. I think a lot of people probably said that after the season 1. They probably had that same feeling. I'm done with this. But we're gonna stick it out. We're gonna see what season 2 has, or the last 5 episodes, season 1.5, I guess it is, and we'll come back to those figures when they come out. Have some fun with those. But at this point, we're moving on from the Masters of the Universe. I will, if you're interested enough, I will go ahead and do some of the retro figures, some of the retro Master Universe figures. There are several that I've purchased that I haven't got out of the pack yet. So, I may do a review on those. But we're going to move on from Master of the Universe. Got a few other things that have come out since then. So stick around. Hope you guys enjoy watching. Rate, comment, subscribe. Join the revolution. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.